welcome to Tome of Uselessness. I'm Devin.
I'm Dan.
And today we are going to be talking about Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Eternal, the movie. Hey, did I get it?
Yeah, nicely done.
First try. But first, Dan, did you like anything this week?
Yeah, I've got a couple things. I don't know, I was trying to rack my brain that I was like, did I have more things? But I guess I just finished The Evolutionary Void, which was the last book of a trilogy by Peter F. Hamilton.
Nice.
About, some of the Commonwealth stuff, which I really enjoyed. I did enjoy it a lot. It was a cool trilogy. But like I said, I think I mentioned it previously where in this one, not so much, which was kind of cool. But like there was a flash to a different universe. And I just didn't care about any of that. Throughout the book 1 and 2. This one, maybe in the first third, it had that more.
Okay.
But that kind of ends as the storylines start to crescendo and merge. Which I was like, obviously this is going to come into play. I get it, but I was like, I just don't care.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, overall good. I did enjoy it. I've been enjoying some of his writings, and maybe I'll come back. There's another trilogy apparently of his that is pretty good, and then Rick and Morty just started season 5.
Oh, nice. How is it?
Episode 1 I enjoyed. Apparently it's on YouTube if anyone wants to check it out. And it was just some classic Rick and Morty stuff.
Does he turn into a pickle?
Unfortunately, no.
To avoid family therapy?
No, not this time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it was good. So looking forward to seeing more of that. And I checked out something a little older, The Old Guard with Charlize Theron on Netflix.
Oh yeah, you were texting me about that. Was it good?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was kind of just a cool action movie, and I think it was because, like I said, there was that Corridor Crew stuntman. He was talking about how this was related to that Ajin. So I watched that.
Oh, right. I remember now. Yeah. Okay.
But apparently there is a comic as well for this. So it's like there's 3 different types of stories apparently going on in this thing.
Interesting.
And then I was reading online to see if were they going to do a sequel or not. Of course, the pandemic, puts some stuff. But apparently there's a sequel in the works. So, we'll see how that goes. But it's just kind of cool, falls in that Highlander Immortals kind of thing where it's like, these people in combat, they can do things because they can't die. So they're just run into a hail of bullets and it doesn't matter, right? So that kind of stuff's always fun.
Yeah.
And that's about it. What about yourself? If you got anything, Devin, you want to highlight?
Well, I've mostly been doing schoolwork. Because I thought, my life isn't stressful enough. Why don't I go back to school and finish my bachelor's? And then I thought, on top of that, I'm like, why don't I start with a science course, which I am notoriously bad at, so that I can be extra stressed out. So mostly I've been doing that, but I did go to the movie theater yesterday, and I watched Cruella.
Nice.
And it was bad.
I'm curious, in what way was it bad to you?
Okay, so here, let me highlight the good parts. There were some really good actors in it who did the best with what they had, like Emma Stone, Emma Thompson, and the fashion was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
because the plot is she's like a fashionista, undergrad or an intern type thing, if I recall. I've seen a little synopsis. But...
No, incorrect.
Oh, sorry.
Can I spoil it a little bit?
Sure. I mean, I don't plan on really watching it until maybe one day it's free on Disney Plus, and I'm ultra bored after I went through their entire catalog. So spoilers for Cruella, anybody listening.
Okay, so I'm going to try to do this in under 5 minutes, but it'll be hard because it's the most convoluted fucking plot of all time.
Yeah.
So... it starts off with Cruella's birth, which I'm already like, fuck you. Because we don't need that. But ultimately, this isn't the order that the audience finds out things. But the story is that there is a wealthy fashion designer called the Baroness. She has a child. She doesn't want the child. She asks a servant to get rid of the child, meaning kill it. But he gives it to a different servant who takes her and raises her as her own daughter. And then she has problems in school because she's too rebellious. And they have to move from like small town England to London. And on the way, they stop at the Baroness's house so that the fake mom can ask for money. And then the Baroness has her Dalmatians like Spartan kick mom off a cliff and kill her.
Yeah, like does she recognize her as her ex-servant and is like,
yeah,
hey, I told you to get rid of that kid, you didn't apparently, or whatever?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyways, and then the kid, Estella, somehow runs off and ends up in London and ends up with these two boys, and they're kind of thieves. And then when she turns like whatever, 20 or whatever, the boys are like, you've always wanted to be a fashion designer, so we got you this retail job. And then she goes and does the retail job, but she like is at the bottom of the barrel, like she's cleaning bathrooms and stuff. But then she gets drunk one night and she redoes the window, and it's the best window they've had in 10 years. And the Baroness shows up and she doesn't know that Estella is her daughter. So she hires Estella as a fashion designer. And then Estella figures out that the Baroness might have killed her mother because she had her mother's necklace, which, spoilers, turns out to be a family heirloom that actually previously belonged to the Baroness, that unlocks a chest that has her birth certificate in it. But before they know all that, Estella decides to become Cruella, a rival fashion designer, so that she can ruin Estella's name, and then hijinks ensues. And then Cruella or Estella almost get like the Baroness figures out that Cruella is Estella, and she tries to kill Estella by burning her alive in her apartment. But the servant that gave Estella to the other servant at the beginning of the movie saves Estella and tells her that she is the Baroness's daughter. So then the Estella does this big elaborate plot to have a bunch of people. No, wait, what does she do? The Baroness has a party, and she gets all of the attendants, which are female, to dress up like her, who the Baroness thinks is dead, but then figures out she might not be dead. So she uses it as a diversion, and then she gets the Baroness aside and tricks the Baroness into pushing her off the same cliff as her mother. Well, all the guests witness it without the Baroness knowing. Mm-hmm. And then it turns out that she was wearing a parachute. So she's fine, but Estella is dead and Cruella is alive at the end of the movie and inherits everything.
Right.
It's so convoluted. You know what would have been a much better fucking movie? Is if the Baroness was a fashion designer and Cruella was a rival fashion designer. And at the beginning of the movie, she's really sweet and innocent and kind. But as the movie progresses and her brand doesn't take off the way she wants it to, she keeps doing little tiny, like compromising her integrity type things until it builds at a crescendo where, I don't know, maybe she pushes the rival Baroness or something. And anyways, and that's how, like, that's the start of how she becomes Cruella, where she gets to the point where she's killing puppies for coats. Like, that makes way more sense to me. I don't know why they had to make it like this big fucking knot of stupid.
Well, and it sounds kind of like that they're trying to make Cruella, like, not the bad guy, kind of like I think they sort of achieve with Maleficent. But yeah, it's
here is one problem, though.
It's like Cruella wanted to skin puppies.
Yeah. Well, that's the other problem. But the problem is that in the movie, they establish that as a child, she's kind of a psychopath, and that she pushes that part of her down to be the good daughter that her fake mother wants her to be. Right. So they're like, she was always mean, she was always a psycho. Yeah. But now she's going to do it on purpose. Just like, no, much better movie. She's making compromises. She does a little thing and then another little thing and then a bigger thing and then a bigger thing. And then by the end of the movie, we're like, yeah, we could totally believe that in 60 or I don't know, 20,
Whatever.
40
Yeah.
years, she would skin a puppy.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like it's one of those things that I've seen this kind of discussion a little bit here and there, where it's like movies now, like something like this, like a studio thing, they don't want to make it simple because people will be like, well, that's it. It's just like a simple thing. And they're trying to be like, no, it's all got all these elements and it's convoluted and cool. And it's like, but then it ruins the movie because then it doesn't make sense anymore.
It makes zero sense.
Yeah.
And a much better movie, especially when you have good actors, right?
Sure.
A much better movie is just having good actors playing like emotionally complex situations. And like a much more interesting backstory for a villain is somebody who doesn't like leap into villainy, but like slowly slides down the hill until they don't recognize themselves in the mirror anymore.
Yeah, and like you said, it's like, yeah, her designs start to go in a different direction, and then she was like, oh, well, I didn't like to use fur, but maybe my design worked with this mink, and then it's like, okay, well, maybe I could try this now, and like you said, it eventually to where she's like, I'm gonna make everything out of animals.
Yeah, or even just like, you know, we could like show her just being like or maybe she finds out a trade secret from her rival, and like at the beginning of the movie she would never use that to her advantage, but by the end of the movie she's willing to do that, and she's just, you know, obsessed with, you know, being the best. And then you could like see that means eventually she's like, you know, I have to have the best coat available, and the best way to make the best coat is with baby puppies. Anyway, that's my little rant about Cruella.
Good times.
Yeah, I don't recommend it.
Fair enough. I mean,
you know what? I think, like you were saying, if it's free on Disney Plus and you have it on mute so you can kind of watch the fashion, that's the way to watch this movie.
Fair enough. But aside from that, we're here talking Sailor Moon.
Speaking of convoluted.
Yeah, before we get into it, I was just curious, what is your kind of history with the Sailor Moon property?
So I thought that I had watched a bunch of it. But after going into this, I'm like, I clearly haven't watched that much of it. So I like watched it as a kid, basically. Right. I think it was on YTV, maybe?
I was literally about to say that, like the YTV translation that they had back in the day.
But I knew less of the lore than I thought I did.
Right. And not obviously, but it wasn't my cup of tea, of course. You know, I'd watched the Dragon Ball Z before or after
right.
Sailor Moon. And I was aware of Sailor Moon, of course, because how could you not if you watch anime, you know that there's a show called Sailor Moon and it's got the Sailor Scouts. Right?
Yeah, magical girls.
Yeah, exactly, right? It was the classic. But
so, I was watching this with Tony, and he pointed out that this is actually an entire season's arc that has been compressed into 3 hours.
Okay. Yeah, because this is on Netflix, and then my curiosity the entire time was either, did this follow a big storyline and is now setting up a new season, or like you're saying, this is actually a season's worth of show in 3 hours?
Yes.
That's the correct answer. Okay.
That's what I understood.
Yeah. Okay. Because that's right. I was like, okay, I could see this like being after, 5 years of the show, and the show hasn't been around now, and then now we're going to make some new Sailor Moon, but we have this OVA to introduce the new crew and the setup or whatever. But
right.
That's not that.
Yeah, no, I think it was a season that they compressed. I could be wrong, so if I am wrong, you can email us at tomeofuselessness@gmail.com and tell me I'm a big dummy.
Right. But like Devin said earlier, it's a Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Eternal, the movie, 2 parts on Netflix.
What did you think of it before we get into it?
Okay. I mean, I have some notes, of course. I thought it was insane, but but now it's kind of starting to make sense if it was compression. But I did think overall the animation was great, except for some of the CG elements. And I thought it was interesting that they kept like the throwback style of the big eyes, small mouth, because that's not really what anime looks like nowadays.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, because most of the more popular stuff, like they're not drawn in that same style. So, that was kind of cool. But then it was interesting that they kept some of the things from older anime. Like, okay, for example, yelling the attacks, right? Like that's old school stuff, pretty standard. And it just was kind of made me think of that She-Ra show, of course, because She-Ra has transformations. She transforms into She-Ra, but it's like in the beginning of the season, you'll see the full length of it. And then after that, they just get like a compressed version, like every time she changes, right?
Yeah.
And in this, we get everyone's transformations because it's like the first time and it's reintroducing the crew. But then the attacks part, it's always the full animation length of them yelling their whole attack and then like the background thing and then like the beam attack. And I'm like, you can cut this down. We got we know the attack.
I wonder if that was kept in because it's like just Sailor Moon's style. Like it's
and that,
you know
like
what I
said,
mean? Like it's like
kind of
a
double-edged
signature thing.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's double-edged that they kept this style like this, but then they're also doing like some of these tropes that it's like you could kind of move away from them a bit, and it would still be Sailor Moon. Like, first time they do the attack, they do the full yell and everything, and you're like, yeah. And then the next time, it's like, okay, we get it.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, but but overall, like the story and everything, I felt was sort of difficult to follow, and then it was like 90% of it was in the last half hour. And it was, I just felt like because the way that was designed, that the crew was too large.
Oh my God, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. So overall, it was like interesting, but I know I'm not the target audience for it, but I still think I enjoyed it for the most part.
I feel like I enjoyed the first, like, because it's part 1, part 2.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I enjoyed the first part more than the second part.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the second part was like, it was kind of like, don't worry, Mulligan. Don't worry, Mulligan. Wait a minute, Mulligan.
Wait a minute, the big bad here is now here, and we're going to explain everything.
Yeah. And then movie over, and it's like, what?
Yeah. Well, then I thought it was very funny in part 1, before I guess we kind of talk about, but it's like, okay, so like each of the Sailor Scouts, well, not each, but 3 of them get like singled out to be attacked. And every single one, it's like, oh, I'm not feeling well in my situation in life and this and that. And then it's just like they have like the turnaround about like, believe in yourself. And then it's just like broken. Yeah. And, they break the spell and then they're just like Sailor Moon time.
It does feel a little bit like, what are we gonna do to get out of this situation? Power of friendship? Yeah, power of friendship.
Or it's like it's like the sailor version of themselves is like, don't believe this, we can break out of here and be awesome, and they're like, yeah.
Yep, I agree with that.
But I did like those three animal attacks because they were all different and they had like a different method, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed the animals that got turned into himbos.
Yeah.
The fashion in this is great.
Here's my main thing, though, because, like I said, I was thinking that it followed a storyline beforehand, because in the beginning of the movie, part 1, we wake up and we're introduced to Chibi Moon, who's apparently from the 30th century and was going to be returning this day that the movie starts, but we never find out why she was in not the 30th century at all.
Okay, so it is my understanding, I stopped watching before she was on the show, but it's my understanding that she's like a regular character on the show.
Okay. See, that's what I was like, but she's from the future. And I'm like, why is there someone from the future in our current scout situation?
So I believe, and again, email is if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I believe that Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask are reincarnations.
Yeah, we learned that in this movie.
Yeah, but there's also like a future reincarnation of them. Like their spirits are always being recycled.
Okay, yeah.
I believe that Chibi Sailor Moon is their daughter from the future.
Yeah, she says that a couple times, but I was unsure if she was using an honorific to be like, he is my father, like he's my descendant's father, or you know what I mean? Like I'm the daughter of his descendant, but I was like, you're saying literally she is his dad. Or he is her dad. Sorry.
Yeah, he is her dad, but his like reincarnation is her dad.
Right.
Yeah, which is weird that she like wants to be romantically involved with her dad.
Well, he's probably a younger version than she probably knew.
Yeah, it's still her dad.
I know.
Look at pictures of my dad when he was like, you know, in his 30s and be like, hey, this is really fucking weird and gross.
Yeah. Like I said, it was an unexplained element that I was just like, why are you here?
Also, I find it really strange. Like, it's probably a cultural thing that I'm missing, but like, it's my understanding that chibi means small and cute. So they just keep calling her small and cute Sailor Moon.
I mean, that makes sense.
Okay. She's not that cute.
Wow. She's got the big eyes. I mean, obviously she's irritating. That's her character.
Fair. Okay. So should we try to explain the plot?
Sure. I mean, we can explain some of the stuff and kind of talk a bit more here and there as we go.
Okay. I'm sounding like I didn't enjoy it, but I did enjoy it. It's daunting to try to explain something that I only like a quarter understand.
Yeah.
So, it is the day of some sort of eclipse.
Yeah.
Chibi Sailor Moon is going back to the future, but the eclipse happens and they decide it's not the right time. Right?
Yeah, basically they're just like, oh, there's too many people standing around watching this eclipse. Let's not send you home. So cool.
Instead they buy kaleidoscopes.
Yeah. But in the eclipse, the Dark Circus comes down.
Yeah, the Dark Circus comes down and they set up camp and they're clearly evil.
Yeah, clearly evil.
Yeah. And then also Chibi Sailor Moon sees a vision of a Pegasus man.
I think she just sees the unicorn Pegasus mostly because it's like later it's revealed that he has a humanish form. Right.
And the Pegasus name is Helios. He needs her and gives her a bell.
Yeah, and much of the movie he's like, we got to save, what is it, like, not Elysium, but like something like that. Like.
Yeah, Elysium, yeah.
Oh, he says Elysium?
I think that's what it was called.
It definitely sounds like that, but so it's like, and we see flashes to like another Pegasus unicorn in a cage, so you're like, okay, he needs help saving this unicorn. Copy that.
Yeah, gotta save the unicorn.
Yeah.
And then we also find out that there are, I think I'm jumbling the timeline, but I don't care.
Sure.
There are 4 ladies from the Amazon who work in the Dark Circus. They make himbos out of animals.
Well, first they're just like they feed off people's like dark dreams, so they're like, we're gonna make nightmares and stuff like that. But then they sense some kind of power, and the tiger gets sent out, and the 2 sailors, they stop the tiger attack. But it was weird because they were like, oh no, we can't transform into like previous sailor power, but then they get new sailor power immediately.
Oh yeah, that was Sailor Moon and Chibi Sailor Moon.
Yeah, and Chibi Moon, they're like blam, and then they get new power.
Yeah, because a heart-shaped diamond comes out of their chest.
Yes.
And then they get a slightly different uniform that has like rainbow at the skirt, at the hem.
Yeah.
And then also their kaleidoscopes turn out to be weapons.
Yeah, particle beam laser weapons.
Yes. Makes me want a kaleidoscope.
Sure, yeah. So then, like you said, the Amazons realize, oh, somebody can stop us. So she's like, we're going to put the stop to them by using our animals as himbos.
Yeah. And then they send one to Sailor Mercury. Right?
I can't remember which of the 3 get.
The blue one is Sailor Mercury. I think she gets it first.
And I know Neptune gets one, of course.
No, Neptune doesn't get one.
Oh, she doesn't? Oh, I thought she did.
No, because Neptune's one of the other four.
Right.
It's
Mars, sorry, is one of
Mars,
yeah.
Jupiter, and
Mercury.
Mercury get them.
Right.
Venus doesn't get one.
She gets the idol contest.
She gets the idol contest. Yes. So Sailor Mercury, her dad left her when she was a kid, and her mom works a lot, and she also studies really hard. So one day when her mom's at work, it's nighttime, and she is studying. I feel like is it the fish one that attacked her?
Yes.
The fish himbo is like, nobody loves you and you're gonna die alone. And then and then she almost does, but then Sailor Mercury's, and she can't transform, but Sailor Mercury's spirit tells herself that she has friends, and then she transforms and fights him, and then Sailor Moon and Chibi Sailor Moon show up and they help kill him.
Yeah, and again,
and
like
also Tuxedo Mask has a black lung.
yeah, he's dying throughout the entire thing. No, and I was gonna say again, the animation of like their attacks and everything was super well done. You know, I assume animation with CG elements, but it really blends well and it looks great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it did look really cool. Oh, and then wait, after this, so then they fight, and then I think Helios shows up again.
Yeah, he shows up at various points.
And he's like, "Oh, Sailor Moon, you must be the maiden I'm looking for." And then Chibi Sailor Moon. Oh, also they switched bodies at one point, but it's really irrelevant to the plot. So Chibi Sailor Moon runs outside and cries on a swing set, and then the human form of the Pegasus kisses her, which is creepy. And then and then that's that for that day.
Yep.
Okay. So
and then we get the next attack.
Next attack is on Sailor Jupiter. And because she goes into an herb shop, and the dude that's working there gives her a ring. No, it was kind of like a non-binary entity gives her a ring.
Yeah, her and Chibi, because then Chibi passes it on to Tuxedo Mask.
Oh, right. And they talk about their dreams. And then Jupiter goes back there.
Yeah, because she's like, that was a great shop, and I want to patronize and help this person out.
Yeah, support small business.
Basically.
So she goes back, and then the little pom-poms attack her. The nightmare things.
Yeah, they go tee.
And then she's like, because her only dream in life is to get married and have a family.
Yeah, and open up a shop of some sort.
Yeah, and then she feels like she's defeated, and then she remembers that she's not defeated.
Bliss Blam.
Yeah, she's able to transform into Sailor Jupiter, and she fucks shit up.
She uses the power of the hurricane and goes ape. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and then she's about to kill the shopkeeper, but then she changes her mind because they're like, we both have dreams or something.
Yeah. I was going to say the tiger's like, yeah, I got to live my dream a little bit to be human, but still gets annihilated.
No, that wasn't the tiger. The tiger attacks Mars.
I thought the crow attacked. Oh, yeah, okay, sorry.
No, the crows are people.
This
Come on,
person's
Dan,
the crow.
follow the plot.
No, I know. I thought it was the crow was the one that attacked in the tent. My bad. This is the crow.
No, because I remember the tiger's outfit. He looked like Dee Snider in the 80s.
Fair enough.
Then they go to Tuxedo Mask's apartment.
Yeah, like I said, it kind of flashes back to him because he's dying of the Black Plague.
And they get rid of the ring. And then the next day they all go to the circus.
Yeah, because they're like, clearly something's up with this circus.
So we learn that Sailor Mars isn't that interested in boys. All she wants to do is run her shrine when her grandfather dies. And she also has 2 friends that are crows.
Mm-hmm.
And when they go to the circus, she gets separated from her friends and ends up in the mirror place. And that's when she fights the tiger himbo.
Right.
And then she almost loses.
Well, and because she's also, sorry. No, I was going to say, because she's also unsure if she should, like, run the shrine after his death. She's like, is this what I should be doing with my life or not? And blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, she's having lots of doubt.
Yeah.
And then she almost loses the fight, but then she remembers that she doesn't have to lose the fight. And she transforms into Sailor Mars.
Uses some sweet fire bow arrows and stuff.
Yeah, that was a fun fight. Also, her birds help her, and it turns out they're actually people.
Also, speaking about the crows being people, is that canon that those cats are all people as well?
Oh man, I was super shocked when the cats were people, but I guess it is canon.
Okay.
I was like, what? The cats are people? And Tony was like, yeah, of course they are. Like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I just thought they were talking cats. There's magical girls.
Yeah.
Why can't there be talking cats? What happens after that? I don't remember.
Basically, they're like, oh, this is really weird. They leave again, and then out on yourself because she can't.
Shut up! I'm gonna kick you out.
She can't transform. She's like, I'm a bad leader because I didn't know she was the leader of the crew apparently. And then
I didn't know she was the leader either. I thought Sailor Moon was the leader.
Yeah. I guess she's just the most powerful, but she's not the leader. But then so she gets the offer to go into the idol contest because that's one of her dream is to be a star.
Right.
And then she goes to the idol thing, and it's a setup. It's a double cross by the Amazon women that run the circus, and they got hostages, and they're like, we're going to kill them unless you run our gauntlet.
So she does. And then she...
Well, yeah, like the...
Oh, sorry.
The others... I was just say the other Sailor Scouts come, and then they basically, yeah, they're like, if you interfere, we'll kill all the hostages.
Right. And then there's also those creepy twins with weird faces.
Yes.
That they make out of I don't know what.
They just come out of that mirror.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I assume they're from, like, a mirror or knives or something.
Mirror Town.
Yeah, basically. Standard mirror dimension stuff.
So then Sailor Venus is doing bad, and then she remembers friendship or whatever. And she transforms into Sailor Venus. And then things go bad again, and then her cat becomes a person.
Mm-hmm.
And then they think they've won, but then they all get caught in vines.
Yeah, they all get captured, and part 1 ends.
And part 1 ends. Oh, and also before part 1 ends, we find out that Sailor Moon also has the black button.
Right.
I mean, I think we also get revealed that Helios is tied to Tuxedo Mask or something. Like, if one of them dies, they both die.
Right, yeah, because he's like, I'm the protector of the planet, and you're the king of the planet or whatever.
Yeah.
Or the guardian of the planet or something like that, yeah.
He's Sailor Earth.
No, well, not Earth, like the other planet, the Elysium planet. Yeah.
Equinox or whatever the fuck it's called.
No, it's definitely like, it's like ELY something, I can't remember, but it's not, I don't think it's Elysium, or maybe it is, but because I was watching it in Japanese with English subs, so maybe they're
I watched it with dubs. I think it is Elysium.
Yeah, I could see them saying Elysium, because that's the, a heaven for warriors, right? So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is part 1.
Yeah. Ends on the big cliffhanger. All of our scouts captured.
Big cliffhanger. And then we start part 2 with entirely new characters.
Yeah.
So we get Sailor Uranus, Sailor Neptune, Sailor Pluto, and Sailor Saturn out of their costumes. They're regular people. And Sailor Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are in some sort of polytriad, I think. And they're raising a small child, which is Sailor Saturn.
Oh,
sorry, what?
I was just saying, in part one, we would get flashes of them because they were the previous crew and, did awesome and how do we live up to them kind of thing. And then it flashes to them now.
I don't think they're previous crew. I think they show up like after a couple seasons in like the show and they just work with them for a bit. And then I think something happened where like Sailor Saturn died or they had to travel back in time to when she was a baby and they went to an alternate dimension where they live in their polytriad of lesbianism. They're one big happy family. Saturn is growing up. When Saturn plays her violin, a ghost horse and chibi Sailor Moon show up.
Yeah, which was a good effect. I always like that kind of thing when someone's like doing something not mundane, but like playing a violin or instrument or drawing, and then it expands something out and you get that wavy effect and something weird's going down.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. Her reflection talks to her, like her older self is reflected in the mirror, and it's like, hey, you're Sailor Saturn, remember this shit. And then she goes back to her mom's and dad, who is a woman, but she calls her dad, which is fine. And she's like, hey, parents, we gotta go help them. They're in trouble. And I have my crystal, and here's all of yours. And also Holy Grail. Not going to explain it. I'm just going to mention it in passing. And then they decide to talk, to go to Earth to help the Sailor Scouts.
Yeah, basically. They're just like, we got to go and help them. Dun, dun, dun. And then they transform and go.
Yeah, and it takes like half an hour do that.
Yeah.
So then they get there, they help out the Sailor Scouts, and then just things ratchet really quickly.
Yeah, this is like I was saying, because it's like the last half hour is just like everything.
Yeah, I watched this last night and I'm like a little bit shaky on what happened, but because so much happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
They meet up with the Sailor Scouts and they save them. Chibi Moon joins them. Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask meet up with each other, and then eventually with the Sailor Scouts. Chibi Sailor Moon and Saturn run off on their own and attempt to remind the Amazon ladies that they're actually good.
Yeah, I thought that was a neat twist / element. But it was funny that both of them are like, we can go do this. And it was like, you were all losing, and now the two of you are just going to go.
Yeah, you're like children, too.
Yeah. You're going to take all four of them on when the crew was losing.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay. But I did like that they were like, yeah, hey, you're actually not supposed to be bad guys. You've been twisted and turned by the evil queen.
Yeah, so then this like weird witch lady that apparently was voiced by the actress that played Rita Repulsa.
Okay, yeah.
She traps them in a piece of glass.
Yeah, she basically reduces them to a gem of some sort.
Did you notice that her dress talked?
Yes, I was curious about that because it's got a face, her dress. Or her.
Yeah, it was weird,
robe.
but I kind of dug it.
Yeah, no, her robe is like sentient, and she's also, another being that's all weathered away in evil witch type.
Okay, so while that's happening, Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask get turned into children. Helios, or whatever the fuck his name was, shows up and transports them to Elysium because they would die if they stayed on Earth. He gives them a bunch of backstory, and he needs Tuxedo Mask's gold crystal thing.
Mm-hmm.
They go back to Earth because they're getting attacked.
Well, yeah, because we find out that Helios is actually the unicorn Pegasus that's in the cage, He's kind of been projecting himself or whatever, and then he uses like the last of his power to help Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask so they can like transform again or whatever.
Yeah. So they go back to Earth, and then there's no, he doesn't use the last of his power for that. He uses the last of his powers to send the purifying crystals to Earth.
Well, but I just mean like he uses the last of power to like help them in ways.
Yeah. So they go back to Earth, and then they meet up with everybody else, and then all of them go to Elysium. Did I miss something? Oh no, she runs into the mirror at one point.
Yeah, because basically it's like it goes from the evil old woman being the antagonist to we get the reveal of the queen that starts with an N, and then it's just like I have a note that it's like after that's when the crystals start forming and everything, and it's like after that it's fight position because it's just exposition and fighting at the same time.
Yeah. But basically what we find out is that I'm going to go out of order a little bit.
Yeah, it's all good.
What we find out is that Queen Serenity, I think, is Sailor Moon's mom.
Yes. And Sailor Moon is the reincarnation of her daughter.
Yes. And the Sailor Scouts are reincarnation of the Sailor Scouts.
Yeah. Of her guardians and stuff, yeah.
And we find out that on her, when she was born or whatever, Evil Queen wasn't invited, and she shows up and she gives a big speech about how you can't have light without darkness. Serenity is like, yeah, you're right. And then she blasts her into the mirror and seals her in there.
Yeah, which was kind of hilarious. She's like, yeah, you're right, but you're still evil. Get out of here.
Yeah, but fuck you. Facts don't care about your feelings, bitch. That is verbatim from the dubbed version.
Yeah, it was some odd dialogue there.
So we find that out, and then basically they all end up in Elysium, and they super duper believe in themselves.
That's literally my note. It just says "gotta believe" with a question mark.
And then Sailor Moon becomes like Sailor Moon in a gown, and all of the Sailor Scouts become Sailor Scouts in gowns.
And Tuxedo Mask gets his white tux going.
Yeah. They all pull their heart crystals out of their bodies and throw them at Sailor Moon so she can be super powerful Sailor Moon, including Tuxedo Mask. And then that sends Evil Queen into the mirror, and then the mirror breaks. And also, Elysium is restored, and Helio is healed, and we find out that the Amazons are actually Sailor Asteroid people.
Right, yeah.
They're Sailor Scouts too, but they're Sailor Scouts of the asteroid belt, because like there's no more planets left for them. And
that they're from the... Oh, sorry.
And we find out that they live in gems in the Amazon because they're going to help out Chibi Sailor Moon when she becomes the Lady Princess of the Moon.
Yeah, like basically, like from the future.
Yeah. And then they all live happily ever after.
Yeah, it just kind of ends.
Yeah.
It's like they've all got their power and everybody's like, yeah. And like you said, they did a big Voltron attack and then it ends.
Yeah, that's it.
Wasn't there some kind of coda with Chibi Moon and Helios? Wasn't he? He says something along those lines. I think there is a scene where he's just like, oh, you were the maiden and you helped me out. Thank you so much, or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah, one day we're gonna bang, but not till you're at least 16.
Age appropriate.
Yeah. Again, verbatim.
Oh,
from the movie.
Actually, that was one thing that I thought was kind of funny. It's obviously from the show, but I was just like, they're still sticking with a Sailor Pluto because, of course, Pluto's not a planet now.
Oh, yeah. I also like how, like, okay, Sailor Uranus is like, my planet is the planet of air. And then Sailor Neptune is like, my planet is a planet of water, and then Pluto's like, I control space and time. And then Saturn's like, my planet is the planet of silence. Like, that does not seem like some equal.
But it's everybody's got their power, so they just got to work together.
Yeah, my power is the power of shutting up.
Well, that's what I was saying when Jupiter uses like her hurricane power. I'd be like, yeah, you could like really go ham with Jupiter's hurricane.
Yeah, well, same with like Mars's flames are pretty cool, and then Mercury's like, I can blow bubbles. Again, it sounds like I'm ragging on it and I didn't enjoy it, but I do actually enjoy it. I just felt very lost in this.
Yeah, and I think that was my main issue with it as well, was just I think I have a note here is like, didn't really feel like there was a plot.
Yeah, it was simultaneously not enough and too much plot.
Well, yeah, because it was interesting because it's like, okay, the evil circus comes down and then we have like the thing and she's like, we're going to, cause nightmares and it's going to mess up and then eventually we'll take over the world. And you're like, okay. And then halfway through, I think through part 2, she's like, we're making the earth a dead world. And you're like, okay. But then then there's just more. And then there's like, oh, there's the evil queen behind her. And then there's another thing. And then the other thing. And I was just like, none of this was set up. It's all just going insane.
Yeah, there's also like we have normal powers. We have no powers. We have better powers. We have better powers. We have better powers.
Well, and yeah, just even the fact, like you said in the beginning, in part 1, when they're like, oh, we can't transform, something's stopping us. And then they're like, oh, you mean we can transform? Cool.
Yeah, it's like I guess like if it was a season, I could see like there being a couple episodes where they couldn't transform and then it was kind of tension building. But in like an hour and a half, it's just like, we don't have powers. Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah, I think the only one that actually had that tension was the Sailor Venus situation, because she gets to the tower and like there's some hostages and she falls and then her cat catches her, Artemis, and then she's like, oh, like she could get hurt or die because she can't transform, but then she just transforms.
Yeah.
But it's like for a minute there, I was like, okay, she's got to like do something because she doesn't have sailor powers.
Yeah, she just got to use her boyfriend cat.
Yeah, I guess. Because
Seems like they had a romantic relationship a little bit. I don't know if I was reading into that.
I mean, anything's possible.
She fucks her cat.
That is weird.
It is weird.
But I guess that's Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I mean, like with the evil queen or not the evil queen, but the evil witch turning the world into a dead world, and they have to stop that. I was like that's enough. Like you don't need more than that, because Tuxedo Mask is dying because he is connected with the Earth, and it's like, okay, so it's like these two things are connected. But then they introduced the Element Queen, the Elysium element, this and that, and it's just like could have pared it down a bit, and it would have flowed a little better, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, there was just a lot happening, but
yeah,
it made me confused.
No, I was supremely confused because I was like, okay, I get it. Sailor Moon, reincarnation of his daughter, cool. Tuxedo Mask, same thing. They're all kind of reincarnations, but it's also like it's not totally needed for the story that you were telling initially.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because like my note is like the bad guy had a scheme, sort of, because it's like they're scheming, and then it's like, no, we're making a dead world now, and it's like you were just eating people's nightmares. Like that was what was happening like 10 seconds ago.
Nope, not good enough. Dead world.
Yeah.
Also revenge for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, I also have a funny. I thought this was kind of funny, and again, maybe different dub or not, but it was like, I wonder how many times they said the word princess.
Oh, too many to count.
Yeah.
Especially in part 2.
Yes. Because they say the word princess like every sentence.
Yeah, Sailor Moon is a princess, but then it turns out that all the other Sailor Scouts are also princesses, and Chippy Sailor Moon is a lady princess lady or some shit. It was a lot.
Yeah, no, it was, I was like, as I said, as I was watching it, I was like, oh my gosh, they are saying this so much.
it was a lot to follow. I think if you're really familiar with Sailor Moon, like if you'd watched all the seasons, maybe it would be a little bit more enjoyable. Like you might think, oh, well, the pacing was a little off, but it was good.
Mm-hmm.
But coming from it, especially since I thought I knew about Sailor Moon lore, turns out no.
Right.
It was very confusing.
Well, and it's interesting because I know, like, I very much enjoyed Ghost in the Shell, the standalone complexes, and they were full seasons of like 26 episodes, and then they did reduce them down into like hour and a half, 2 hour movies.
Mm-hmm.
But they did a pretty good job, I think, in those, just because they stuck with like the one storyline, and it was just like the main storyline, right?
That makes sense.
And also they didn't spend time like introducing our main crew because it was just like assumed you knew who they were, right?
Right.
So I think that having this be done in 2 parts, that makes perfect sense. But I think, like you said, like I was just saying, it's just like they were just cramming too much into it instead of just cutting some of it down, because I was very unaware that it was a season of a show presented as a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Right.
I'm not 100% on that.
No, but it does kind of feel like that kind of situation. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, when you like think back to what happened, it does, like, you can see episode breaks in it, like how it would break down, I think. Yeah.
And then, like you said, like where they're like, oh no, I can't transform, and there would be an episode about them realizing and coming to their power. So then, like, in the fight, they could then transform. Right?
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's just like, hey, mirror me, let's do this.
Yep, totally. It's like, you can do it. Oh, yeah, I can. Thanks, man. I needed that.
High five, let's do it.
Yeah, I can't do it. No, you can do it. Oh, yeah, you're right.
But again, I think just, major credit to whoever actually did the animation. Like I said, the end stuff in the fight looked really great, and like the world destruction stuff and the power attacks. I thought they all looked really great. It was funny, but like I said, it just was that aesthetic that literally every time they do an attack, it's like the one Sailor Scout or whoever's involved, and the background just disappears and it's them flashing, and then the attack happens, right?
Yep.
But I was like, that's classic Sailor Moon aesthetic, so it's just, a lot crisper and looks great.
I agree.
But I did feel like the crew was too large. But again, maybe just because, again, it's compressed down, because it was just like so many people.
I feel like, yeah, if you were a fan of the show, it would be really upsetting to not include all the characters.
That's fair.
But yeah, coming from it without like super familiarity, it just was like, how many fucking, who else is gonna join? Sailor Milky Way?
Nice. Sailor Galactics.
Sailor Sun?
Yeah. Yeah, why is there no Sailor Sun?
Yeah, why is there no Sailor Sun? Meanwhile, there is a Sailor Sun, and we're just getting just so many emails. Like, actually, there is a Sailor Sun.
Oh, that's fair.
It's Tuxedo Mask. Sailor everything. How come, I have a question for you that you're not going to be able to answer.
Sure, let's do it.
How come Sailor Moon, like Earth's moon, gets a Sailor Guardian, but none of the other fucking moons do?
Well, yeah, like the 2 crows that Mars has, they're named after Mars's moons, right? And then I think when Jupiter, basically, like they do say the moon names in I think a couple of the attacks kind of thing, but you're correct in that they don't like have more scouts. I guess they could be like their lieutenants and like their officers that like, nice. they're underlings, right?
Oh no, that'd be so many more characters.
Well, I was about to say, especially since like some of the planets, I think like Jupiter and Saturn have like a ton of moons. Jupiter especially, I think it has like 60 now or something.
Holy.
Yeah. Just because it's so far out there, right? And because it has almost the same gravitational pull as a star, so it just has tons of moons.
Wait, does our moon have a name?
I don't think so.
Is it just moon? How come? Planet, your moons have names, but ours is just moon.
Well, it's like the same like Earth, just dirt.
Yeah, but Earth is still, like, we don't just call Earth planet, right?
Well, and I was gonna say the moon obviously sounds different in multiple languages, right?
Yeah, but like, no, what I'm saying is like,
Yeah, we don't call it something like the ancient Greek gods and of stuff like that, like Mars and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
it should be called Artemis. I have declared it. Our moon's name is Artemis, after the cat from Sailor Moon.
Yeah, not the hunter goddess.
No, the cat in Sailor Moon, who's also a boy or a man.
Yeah, unknown.
Unknown. I don't
So-
know. I get that thing. My brain is fried, Dan.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, at the end of the day, would you recommend people? If someone was like, "Hey, should I watch the Sailor Moon thing?" What do you say?
I think that if you have watched the show, you'll probably find it enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're coming at it blank, like you've never seen anything Sailor Moon related, that it is a hard watch because it doesn't make sense to outsiders. But if you're an insider, you'll like it.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. And yeah, like I think my description of it was as insane is kind of apt because it was just like it was so all over the place. But again, I enjoyed some elements of it and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I'm kind of along the same track where it's like if you're more familiar with Sailor Moon, you'd probably enjoy it and get a kick out of it. But if you're unknown or if you're not as into anime especially, it'll just be way too weird.
Yeah, if you don't like anime, you should not watch this movie.
Yeah, it'll just be way too weird.
Yeah, I can't see myself like calling up my dad and being like, hey, you should really check out Sailor Moon. Because I just feel like you'd be like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
But somebody who likes it, if they haven't seen it already, then yeah, go for it. It's full of Sailor Moons.
The Sailor Scouts.
Sailor Scouts, yeah. Well, I'm not incorrect. There's Sailor Moon and there's Chibi Sailor Moon, so there's technically two.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also there was some like priestesses trapped in a gem that came out for no reason and had nothing to do with the story, but they were there too.
Oh yeah. Right, when they were on Elysium, and then they're like, we're also part of the last guardians of the planet or something.
Yeah. And then they did nothing to do with the story.
See, again, it's like, yeah, it's another element that could have been cut, because it was already like, okay, Tuxedo Mask is there, he's the guardian, he's got the jewel, cool. So it's like, we don't need more.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? It felt a little bloated. I think that's a good way to say it.
Sure.
Yeah. Like when you eat a lot of salt, feel a bit bloated.
I mean, you suggested this, and like I said, this is not usually kind of my wheelhouse. I did have some fun with it though, so it was kind of just an interesting watch coming at this as someone who's not a big Sailor Moon guy, but I'm familiar with anime. It was kind of fun, but I think like we said, if you're not that familiar, this may be a tough watch.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. Should I wrap things up?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything more to say really.
Who's your favorite Sailor Scout?
Ooh, I think it would be between Mars and Jupiter. I like how they both mess things up.
Nice. I'm a Mercury fan personally.
Mercury, yeah.
Yeah. I dig it when dudes do Sailor Freddie Mercury when they wear like that cosplay is pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. If you were any Sailor Scout, which one would you think you'd be?
Tuxedo Mask.
Oh, because he's a boy?
Yeah. And he wears a tuxedo.
That's fair. I don't know which one I'd be.
I'd probably be the one who was like, you're lonely because I'm in my cave.
Wait, was that Sailor Mercury? She's also the one that's good at computers, so that might be you.
Oh, fair enough.
You're Sailor Mercury. Dan, you're my favorite Sailor Scout.
Yeah,
I'd probably be one of the ones that turned evil.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, who's the most bookish? That's probably me.
Yeah, that's Sailor Mercury.
Yeah.
I'd be one of the Sailor asteroids that make himbos out of animals.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay,
I'll actually wrap it up this time. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this podcast, you should listen to other episodes that we made. And also tell your friends. And also follow us on Instagram at Tome of Uselessness. You can also email us, tomeofuselessness@gmail.com, or you can visit our website, tomeofuselessness.com.
Super easy to find.
Yes, that's it. Have a great day. I was trying to make a Sailor Moon pun, but I don't have any, so bye!
Stay safe and enjoy the eclipse.